Greetings, fellow deadheads. If you're anything like me, you've probably been searching for the right Jerry tone for the last couple years, but it's always been a little bit unobtainable. I wanted to break down this process that took me many years and maybe help shortcut it for you all. There's a lot of information out there now. There's always been. I'm kind of new to the subject in the scheme of things, but I really wanted to create something to compile all of this information. So here are my top 5 steps for getting Jerry tone on a budget or not on a budget, depending on your flavor. Let's get down to it. Step 1, amplifier. There's going to be a lot of different types of amplifiers to choose from. I recommend going on a site like Reverb.com to find something that suits your needs, but if you want to stick with the authentic Jerry Garcia sound, here are some ideas to choose from. Step 1, get a Blackface twin reverb. If you can afford this kind of option, it's going to be worth it. It's going to pay off. But that's not obtainable for most people. So what are some alternatives? Well, if you're trying to spend a decent amount of money but not quite in the Blackface realm, you can go for something like a Mesa Boogie Mark I reissue. You go for a real vintage Mark I, or you could actually do a Mark II. You could go vintage. The reissues are great. I'm playing through a Mark I right now, reissue from I think the late 80s. Has 4 power tubes, 100 watts, super loud, beautiful clean tones, and it's modeled after a Fender Twin circuitry to my knowledge. This is a great way to get most of the way there with the Jerry tone. It's not going to get you all the way, but it'll definitely help. Step 2, having the right guitar will help a lot. Jerry commonly used his middle pickup, but as soon as his custom guitars were built by Doug Irwin, he began to use a middle humbucker. And this is a pretty signature sound that you'll want to have in your arsenal, so it'll help to have a guitar equipped with a middle humbucker. If you don't, that's fine. I find that guitars that are equipped with just 2 pickups, bridge and neck, tend to sound a hair shallower in the mid-range region, but they will do the job just fine. So another thing you can do, you can always use a bridge pickup. Jerry obviously used all of his pickup positions, but just the most common one is the middle. Compared to some other pickups that I use, a DiMarzio Super 2 has a lot more of a focused particular sound in one range of the frequency spectrum. Now, I haven't done any extensive analyses of this to find out which frequencies it is most prominent in, but it definitely seems to have more of a punch than your other pickups on a Gibson or PRS. So if you have the budget to do a pickup swap in your guitar and you have a middle humbucker route, I'd absolutely go this direction. 3, your speaker is going to make a huge impact on your tone. You may not realize this, but if you've just gotten into playing tube amps and you haven't swapped out speakers on your own amp, or you haven't tried out multiple cabs, this is actually a really great way to start with changing your tone. Now, I don't know anything about speakers, but I do know that they affect the sound quite a bit. If you're in the mindset of Jerry Garcia, you'll want to gravitate towards an E120 as maybe a first pick for live, and I believe he used both K120s and D120s. Now, these are all JBL speakers that are no longer manufactured to my knowledge. There's some replicas out there. I can't vouch for how good of a job they do, but they claim to kind of replicate the feel of an E120 or a K120, and I was able to find a K120 on Reverb.com that was used. It had been reconed, but it does a pretty good job, and right now I'm just playing through the stock Black Shadow Mesa Boogie speaker in the Mark I reissue. So this is a great step to start improving your Jerry tone at a pretty budget level, and you can try out this speaker in any of your amplifiers if you have a little bit of basic knowledge. If you don't even have the knowledge, Google it. It's super easy to do. You can do a speaker swap in no time. But make sure you have the right impedances and specifications from your amplifier manufacturer before attempting anything too complicated. I do not condone jumping into your amplifier without technical knowledge, because that could lead to shocks, and you don't want that. I don't want that. Step 4. This is one of the most overlooked Jerry tone secrets that I have kind of come across when practicing. Sometimes I'm using an amplifier which doesn't have a reverb tank on it, or sometimes it has one but it's not functioning. Well, reverb kind of has a lot to do with that Jerry sound. So I'm going to just go back and forth and demo what reverb can do to having some tone that sounds a little bit like Jerry Garcia. here's a dry thing. We're going to play the song Althea, classic. Let's add some reverb. It's an easy modification that can get almost any setup, regardless of your guitar, regardless of your amplifier, sounding a little more like Jerry Garcia. The final step, let's talk about effects. Effects are one of the hardest things to delve into because of so many people's polarized opinions on what's the right thing to use. Now, I have a pedal board that is better suited towards wedding band setups, and it kind of has the ability to replicate most any guitar tone on the fly. I don't have everything here, but a lot of what I have does seem to work well with a Grateful Dead style setup. So I have an Octavider, I have a Mutron 3, and both of these are reissues by Mike Beagle, and it's not necessarily the most budget-friendly solution because you kind of have to wait for a limited run to come out and grab them, but there are a lot of different options. But something that you should definitely have on your pedal board is an envelope filter. If you're trying to get anything Jerry Garcia sounding, it will be one of those key necessities in getting tones on Estimated Prophet, Shakedown Street, Dancing in the Street, all kinds of songs. And I'll just demo a little bit of what my envelope filter sounds like. Envelope filter is one of these effects that you should probably have on your board. Another one, less necessary but still important, is a good octave pedal. Now, I use an Octavider, but really a Boss OC3 is all you need to get a relatively decent sounding Jerry octave tone. Now, this is more used in space kind of solos. It's not necessarily as much of a factor in songs, but it's good to have on your board. Helps you get a little bit of diversification going on. So. This pedal is not polyphonic, but that's something you might want to consider if you're trying to use it for anything more than single notes. Another pedal you'll want to have on your board is an overdrive pedal. I use a Bogner Lagrange. I find it perfectly suitable for anything I need, but it's not exactly designed to sound like a Jerry Garcia overdriven tone. So if this is something that you're very particular about, go ahead, get the pedal that he used, which I believe was I don't remember the name right now, but you can be particular, that's fine. I like this. It sounds just perfect for my needs. Thanks for listening to me talk about some Jerry Garcia tone tips, and I hope that this video helped you out in your search to find the ultimate dead tone. It can be a little bit tricky and a little bit disappointing at times when you don't quite get the right sound you're looking for, but good luck in your tone quest, and I'll see you on the road.